Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. In today's episode, we're going to discuss Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is supposed to certify the election today. Some people are kind of teasing her because she got to certify her own loss of election. So we'll discuss that. She came out with a video saying how she will be certifying the election, which was kind of odd. Why wouldn't you certify the election? But I guess she wanted to, quote unquote, make it be known that she would not try to disrupt the certification like what happened in 2021. Anyway, so we'll talk about that. Then over the weekend, Joe Biden, he gave out freedom, what is it? Medal of freedom to several different individuals. I think it was kind of weird of some of the people that he gave out these medal of freedom to. But we'll talk about that. Also, we have a story about New Jersey in their education system. We have a story about New York today and much, much more. So you guys stay tuned for another episode of Business Talk. Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. You guys put it in the chat. Let me know where you're viewing from. Please put it in the chat. Let me know where you're viewing from. I see we have, let's see who we have in the building. Let's see. Celeste Hodges tuning in from Texas. Kamala messed up on the Pledge of Allegiance. I am so ready for her to be gone. Yeah, she did mess up the Pledge of Allegiance. What's weird? Like, you don't know the Pledge of Allegiance, which is so weird. Like, you've been in office for quite some time. You've been working for the government for the longest time since you got out of law school, and you don't know the Pledge of Allegiance. Anyway, really weird. Keratin, you did miss Unpopular Opinion. We were on for about an hour and a half. Keratin, where you been at? Anyway, yes, we did stream Unpopular Opinion. If you guys are not tuned into my other channel, matter of fact, Wednesday when I stream, I'll make sure I link this channel in so you could know what channel to go to. But if any of my what is it called? If any of my my moderators are in the chat, link in Unpopular Opinion channel in the chat for me. Anyway, Mannequin Skywalker, what is good? So little Fidelito out. A great day for freedom. Noble Young is in the building. Been missing you, girl. Thank you for tuning in. Been missing you too. Keratin tuning in from Waycross, Georgia. I'm so tired. Joe and the hoe. They need to be gone immediately. Exactly. All right. Keratin is saying video was cringe as hell. Coco tuning in from X from Illinois. Thank you for tuning in, Coco. I see we have Mannequin from Scotland. Thank you for tuning in. And my notification was screwed. Well, you'll have Wednesday to tune in. Okay. I believe I got everybody that's in the chat, and I really appreciate everyone for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this channel. You guys, we're going to start off with our first story. Just a quick story. Joe Biden bestows, this is what the title reads. Joe Biden bestows the Presidential Medal of Freedom, sparking outrage, a national disgrace. You know, it says President Biden bestowed woke Democratic mega donor George Soros. George Soros with the Medal of Freedom. I don't know if you guys, I was reading some of the posts on X over the weekend, And one guy I follow, he actually posed a question. It is actually a good question. What are the requirements for you to receive the Presidential Medal of Freedom? Is it just because I know you? Or do you have to actually contribute something great to the society? So can we say George Soros contribute great things to American society? I'm not for sure if we could say it's great. We can't say he has or he has massive influence and he's a massive contributor to society, whether it be good or bad. But it is massive because he does fund the Blue Act campaign. He does fund a lot of Democrat politicians. He does own a lot of news media stations. So we know he could move the audience from one way or another. He does impact the audience. Like I said, is it good? I don't think so. Matter of fact, I don't think one person should be able to contribute in a political campaign as much as he does. I mean, he really determines elections, and it says that or it's known that George Soros is the backing behind Black Lives Matter. Okay, so I mean, they're saying it's a national disgrace. Soros is 94, and he was among 19 people chosen to receive the nation's highest civilian honor at the White House, a group that included U2 frontman Bono, actor Denzel Washington, and former Senator Hillary Clinton. Now, a lot of people were upset about Hillary Clinton receiving the Presidential Medal of Honor as well, because if you really think about it, why in the world would you give Hillary Clinton the Presidential Medal of Honor? What has she contribute to society besides a bunch of emails that were lost because she threw her laptop away, and the claims of this Russia hoax that she claimed that it wasn't a hoax. Russia did not had nothing to do, quote unquote, with our elections. Okay, so she claimed that what was it? But anyway, whatever she was saying, it was false. So anyway, and it actually had to do something with her. So she has a bunch of emails that she didn't come up with, and then I don't know. What would you say that she contribute? Now, if you were saying like she wasn't a civilian when she was in office, I mean, she was a governmental official. So and she's been in politics for quite some time. Maybe she will be qualified for some other medal. But a lot of people did not agree with that. Okay. So Joe Biden's decisions to give Hillary Clinton and George Soros the Presidential Medal of Freedom is a national disgrace. The GOP are at it. And Senator Tim Shea, okay, let me read this before I go to the next insert. It says George Soros spent millions electing soft on crime politicians that let criminals wreak havoc in our major cities. So, and this is what I was saying. George Soros, he contributed a lot of money into election. And I think it should be kind of illegal for some like one person to just throw money at people to change the outcome of the election. Soros was not on hand to receive the award in person, so his sons accepted on his behalf, Alex Soros. And they're saying he was born into a Jewish family in Hungary. George Soros escaped Nazi occupation to build a life of freedom for himself, countless of others around the world. And they're saying his generosity spanned blah, blah, blah. He's worth more than $7 billion. He has spent decades financing radical left-wing causes such as defund the police, groups including Black Lives Matter. And also, George Soros is also known backing the DA, Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, Chicago's Kim Foxx, Los Angeles George Gascon, and Philadelphia Larry Krasner have been ripped for pursuing a Marxist agenda that includes promoting lawlessness in the guise of criminal justice reform over prosecuting criminals. And they go on about George Soros. They got a lot of money, or he's put a lot of money into the Democratic elections. And actually, like I said before, I don't think one person should be able to contribute to elections as much as George Soros, because he does determine a lot of elections. Okay. And it says in 2020, Soros put up more than $200 million to dismantle systematic racism. What does that look like? I don't know what dismantling systematic racism is, but that's what they're calling it. And then they get on to Clinton 77. She's that received the Medal of Honor nearly 12 years after her husband, former Bill Clinton, was given the honor by Barack Obama. They said the former First Lady was subject to a FBI probe over her use of a private email server. That's what I meant, private emails. In her time in the Obama administration, but never was charged. Joe Biden is spending his final days in office asking, how can I disgrace myself even more? And this is just the latest example. Hillary Clinton should have been prosecuted, not celebrated with the nation's highest civilian honor. This is what Josh Hawley told the New York Post. Okay, so other people that was recipient: Michael J. Fox, fashion mogul Ralph Lauren, soccer star Lionel Messi, NBA legend Irvin Magic Johnson, and Vogue's editor chief Anna Wintour. The medal is given to individuals who have made exemplary contribution to prosperity, values, and security of the United States of war, peace, and or other significant society, public or private endeavors, to the White House. Okay, so that's that. President, you guys put in the chat. Let me know what you think. Do you think that these people were deserving of it? I'm not for sure. I'm not for sure if I agree with it or not. But it's like, I think it's something that's, it's all discrepancy of whoever's in office, really. I'm pretty sure Donald Trump is going to give the Presidential Medal of Honor to people that the liberals, they're not going to agree with. They're going to say something bad about some of his candidates. About racism, I think Morgan Freeman said it best. Yeah, one thing I can say, I'm not a person. Some people will get mad at me because I say racism shouldn't stop you from getting where you're getting. I do think racism should exist, but I don't think it should stop you from getting to achieving your goals. I think you start off at one place, and if you work hard for it, you should be able to achieve your goals. I mean, what's well within your reach. And I think when people hear that, they don't hear what you're saying. All they hear and believe what you're saying. Oh, you think racism don't exist? No, That's not what I'm saying. I don't focus on racism, and I don't move about day to day, my daily life, like, oh my God, I can't do this because of racism, the boogeyman. I don't move my life like that. I don't move around like that. I don't let people stop me from getting what I'm trying to achieve, And so if you focus on the things that, oh, you got turned down for a job, or you got turned down, or somebody cuts you out on the freeway, you can make everything into racism. I mean, truly, you can. Oh, they looked at me the wrong way, they must be racist. And it's some things that are actually racist, but if you turn everything negative that happened to you into a racist thing, then it would be racism. So I choose not to focus my life on, oh, this happened to me, it got to be racist. No, I don't focus my life on racism. So I feel like if I want to achieve something, it is what it is. Anyway, I don't know why I got off on racism. That's not what we're talking about. But anyway, so our next story, and I can't be too long because I have a training class, you guys, I'm going through. I'm trying to expand my money making skills. So I got a training class at 2:00, so I got to get off. And that's why, as a matter of fact, all this week and all next week, our live will be at 12:30. Okay. Between 12:30 and 1, that's when I will start. And it will last for about an hour or so. Okay. So our next story. Let me share this tab with you. So our next story, this is from actually, before I talk about that next story, I want to talk about Kamala Harris right quick. Kamala Harris, she's supposed to certify the election today. And of course, online, they're talking about it because they feel like, oh, ha, 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 Kamala Harris got to certify the election. And she lost. So Kamala Harris posted this video up early this morning. She said, today I will perform my constitutional duty as vice president to certify the results of the election in 2024. This duty is sacred obligation, one I will uphold, guided by love of our country, loyalty to our Constitution, and unwavering faith in the American people. Okay?
Will uphold.
So take a listen.
The peaceful transfer of power is one of the most fundamental principles of American democracy. As much as any other principle, it is what distinguishes our system of government from monarchy or tyranny. Today at the United States Capitol, I will perform my constitutional duty as Vice President of the United States to certify the results of the 2024 election. This duty is a sacred obligation, one I will uphold, guided by love of country, loyalty to our Constitution, and my unwavering faith in the American people. As we have seen, our democracy can be fragile, and it is up to then each one of us to stand up for our most cherished principles and to make sure that in America, our government always remains of the people, by the people, and for the people. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
Okay, Kamala, I'm not mad at you. Hopefully you guys heard that. You heard that. You saw that. Kamala Harris, she said she's certifying the election. Celeste Hodge, she looks sober. She does. I don't know. Let me see. Have they certified the election yet? I don't know what time do they normally certify. I think Only reason why I wanted to see if they were live. Yeah, they are live. Anyway, so they're certifying the election. You guys put in the chat, put a 1 in the chat. Do you think Kamala will be sober? Will she be sober? If you think she will be sober, put a 1 in the chat. If you think Kamala gonna be lit, put a 2 in the chat during the election process or certifying process. I could just only speculate. Kamala probably gonna have a couple of drinks or two, but this morning you could see she was wide-eyed, bushy tail. But right here you see her. She's standing next to Speaker Mike Johnson. Everybody it seemed like they're happy. I know there were several Democrats representative. They said they will not attend. The instructions were not to go home, but some of these people they decided not to attend, and they were going to not be present during the certification process. I don't know why. Trump is your president too, whether you like it or not. He's your president. You live in America. He's your president. It is the will of the people. Some of the people that might have voted for you might have voted for Donald Trump, believe it or not. Let's face the facts. Some people might have voted for you and as well voted for President Donald Trump. I mean, that could have happened. But so I think Jasmine Crockett says she was sitting out. I'm not for sure if AOC is going to be there, but there were several people said they were not going to attend anyway. But it looks like most people are in good spirits and they're happy, shaking each other hands and all that stuff. Okay, so that's that. They certifying the election. 2, she is going to be hiccup. A lot of people are putting 2. I don't see no ones in the chat. No ones in the chat. Okay, so we're going to get to our next story. And I want to talk about Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau, me and super producer went back and forth about Justin Trudeau because and if you guys haven't tuned in to Popular Opinion, you guys need to catch it on the replay to see what we were talking about in regards to Justin Trudeau. But Justin Trudeau is he's set to resign today. They said he's resigning today. And I'm not for sure if this has anything to do with it, but they're saying I don't know if you guys remember a couple of months ago or last month, I think it was last month, Justin came over to Mar-a-Lago to talk about the tariffs that Donald Trump was planning to impose. And instead of, my bad. Instead of, of course, Trudeau is not going to agree to 25% tariffs to everything. Instead of him saying, "Oh, we're going to make a concerted effort to stop the flow of migrants and the flow of or illegal immigrants and the flow of drugs coming across our borders." So we can come to some agreement, and we're planning to do X, Y, and Z. This is our plan of action because we do not want you to initiate these 25% tariffs on our country because we can't afford it. We can't afford it. Instead of him saying that, he's, I guess, bowing out. Oh, I want to resign. I'm assuming has something to do with it, but I know Justin Trudeau, and I see we have a couple of people from Canada. I know he has a bad approval rating. Okay. Now, whether or not this is the thing that's causing Justin to resign, I'm not for sure. But what we can say, I think, Justin needs to grow some balls. Really, I do. I really do think Justin Trudeau needs to grow some balls. And it's, to me, if you are allowed to make, if a man is making you quit, I think it's crazy.
Finance minister.
So let me just let you listen to this video.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is facing the biggest political crisis of his career. There's talk that he could even step down within hours or days after his finance minister resigned from cabinet over disagreements about the budget. The cabinet minister, Chrystia Freeland, has also long been his most trusted and most powerful minister in government. This is a serious blow to Trudeau's bid to stay in power. He's already widely unpopular. He's facing an election next year. Potentially that election could start as soon as any day now. His government is teetering. So this is very much a massive political crisis in Canada right now. So Trudeau is widely unpopular in Canada after 9 years. Inflation has led to a cost of living crisis. There's wide clamoring for a change in government now. He does not have the majority of seats in Parliament, so he must rely on the opposition parties to stay in power. One party, a leftist party, has supported him on a case-by-case basis recently. Whether they will do that going forward is an open question. So this is really happening at the worst possible time, and perhaps it's the best time to have an election to get a new prime minister with a strong mandate. Certainly the Conservatives and opposition enjoy quite a commanding lead in the polls, so it would likely be a Conservative government that would replace Trudeau should an election happen.
And so you see that.
For the ones ensuring the job always...
I believe Conservative, I think they went so far to the left. I think Conservatives are going to, start taking over. Not only in Canada, I think you're going to see that in the UK. I think you're going to see that. Of course, you've seen that in the US. Is going to start. People are going to start like, okay, we're going far too left. Some of this stuff is insane. We can't go this route. Okay, we need to get the guardrails back on. As far as Justin Trudeau is having problems with his budgetary spending, or I guess the outlook of it, well, that looming tariff that he might be facing, of course it's going to you're going to have some clashes with your current financial manager, so he's in a bad spot. I don't know if he will resign though. I really don't. I don't know if he's going to resign. If you only have a year left, why? Just, if I don't want to be here, I won't run for re-election. Or maybe I think I should be here. Maybe he would put a bid in for re-election. I don't know if he's going to be re-elected or not, but yeah, I'm not for sure about this one. You guys put it in the chat. Do you think the rumors are true? Do you think Justin will resign? And, like I said, if you can't face the hard facts that, okay, your country will be spending more money because of X, Y, and Z, and because of United States, if you're not able to handle that, if you can't get past that budgetary, not agreeing eye to eye on your budget, maybe you shouldn't be in office, because you lack your negotiation skills, or compromisation skills. It can't be just one sided, and you're losing, the people that's been in your corner. So I think maybe he should not run for re-election. I'm not for sure. I'm not for sure if he should resign or not, but re-election, maybe not. Maybe not. Let's see. Who do we have? Donald Trump has been out on bail since August of 2023, when he posted $200,000 bail through the foster bail bonds in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Any American can easily verify this. I'm not for sure what you're talking about. Republicans desperately wanted to put the convicted felon who is out on bail into the White House, someone who was found liable for sexual abuse, business fraud. Congrats to your big accomplishment. The liable for sexual abuse, I mean, that's not a crime. And then, he was civilly responsible, and I think they're overturning that. They might be overturning that. And then, of course, we go back and forth on my other channel. There's been plenty of people that were felons that's been elected. Nelson Mandela won. Actually, Nelson Mandela, before he was even a president, he served 35 years in jail. So, I mean, we could say, Donald Trump, whatever he is, he's your president. He's your president. 50% of people voted for him. So anyway, he's long gone over the rainbow. Yeah. Carrington depends on demand of magnitude of cause for resignation. Yeah. You saying 1.5. I'm not for sure. Rio at the Coco Cabana. Joe and Hunter should be convicted for those business dealings alone. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you talk about Joe Biden's crime and Hunter Biden, he got a pardon for potential crimes that they might charge him for. Especially with that fire regulation. And we talked about Praz before. Praz, he was convicted for FARA, and they were looking into charging not Joe Biden, but Hunter Biden for the same crime. And Praz, and this is the guy from Fuji, he didn't have any political influence. And they're talking about giving him like 20 years in jail. And they confiscated $60 million for him. So, and if you look at Joe Biden, Joe Biden, we know you had business dealings. Matter of fact, the pictures are starting to come up that Joe Biden, he lied and said he didn't have nothing to do with his son's business dealings. But now it's starting to surface on the internet that Joe Biden and the Chinese dignitary and his son was having a meeting together. I just saw that picture online. So anyway. One man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. Exactly. Okay, so let's go to our next story. Now, this is interesting. They're saying exclusive New York City residents slapped with congestion prices surcharged by Fed. Because they fed up. I don't know what Kathy Hochul is planning to charge her residents that drive on the road $9. $9 is a $9 fee. I guess it's going to come. I don't know how they're going to bill them, but it's a toll. It's a congestion toll that they have to pay. And I'm not for sure why my see if I can find it. It says New York City slapped with congestion prices surcharged by fed up companies paying new toll, Hochul inflation. Residents in Manhattan congesting pricing zone may pay the new toll even if they don't drive. Companies making deliveries or providing services in the central business district south of 60th Street are sending out notices that they will add the cost to the fee as a surcharge in their bills to the customers. Phone and data service companies CompuVolt, which contracts with New York City government, already let the city and other customers know that the new fee before the $9 toll went into effect Sunday. And they put, out the notice. And it's saying starting January 5th, which was yesterday, New York State will implement congestion prices in certain areas of Manhattan. It went on, as a result, we will need to introduce a congestion price surcharge for customers located within the congestion price zone. This surcharge will reflect our actual costs and will only apply to service costs in that area. The company said the surcharge will only be slapped on people and companies within the congestion zone, and only while congestion price is in effect. Long Island-based firm Dream Events Decor will also add costs to toll to provide catering and party events in Manhattan. The new toll costs will cost the firm about $20,000 a year. Just think if you're a small business and you have to pay that. $20,000 a year of a surcharge that they're going to impose. Brooklyn-based air conditioning and ventilation service, Mechanical East, alerted customers last spring that it will impose a surcharge for all work orders to compensate for the toll. So everybody trying to pass over the price. It's no surprise to anyone with common sense that businesses operating with the central business district will pass the congestion scam tax onto consumers. He called MTA Chairman Jano Leiber, the King Leiber, and Governor Hochul as the tyrant Hochul, who are pillaging taxpayers to fund the grift of mismanagement of miserable Transit Authority. And it says, and so it begins. And so it begins. You have people for a congestion pricing cash grab is going to affect our everyday commute, infringe on accessibility and affordability. But now we are also seeing how this is going to increase all costs in our daily lives. Yeah. So of course they're passing it on to the customers. Let me know if you live in New York City in this area. I know it's expensive to live in Manhattan, so I'm not for sure how many people are affected by it, but I know if you're a business in that area, it's kind of expensive. That's kind of crazy. $20,000 a day. I mean, $20,000 a year. And I believe whoever wrote this or mentioned saying, hey, they're just scamming businesses and customers because of this mismanagement of their funds, mismanagement of transit authority funds. Okay, let's see what's going on in our next story. Let me see. This is our last story, you guys. I talk about education a lot because I think it's important. And I don't agree with the Department of Education, the way it's going. I think we failed our kids over the last generation or so. And especially in the last 4 or 5 years, because of COVID. I truly believe that we failed our kids. I truly believe that. And I think we're failing our kids even more. This came across my feed and it's saying New Jersey ends basic reading and writing skill test requirements for teachers.
New Jersey's largest teachers union wants to get rid of a basic skills test requirement for aspiring educators. It posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, quote, "We need you to take action!" Exclamation point. Last year, New Jersey eliminated the EDTPA, a barrier to becoming a certified teacher. Now it's time to eliminate another barrier, the basic skills test for teachers. Urge Governor Murphy to sign Senate Bill 1553 right away. The union claims this will help with the teacher shortage, but others say it just adds more fuel to the trend of students falling behind. Cassie, you have a daughter, and I know in D.C., and I know that you're trying to decide how to educate her.
Yes. Well, so my husband and I, when we were dating, he's like, I'm all public school, and I went to the Catholic school growing up. He was like, I got a great education. Our kids are going to public school. And now he's like, we need to save our pennies. We are going to private school, or we need to. And it's not even like, oh, let's move to this good zip code, because it used to be your zip code could determine your education. Well, Fairfax County, Virginia, incredibly affluent county, and that's the epicenter of all this school board nonsense. So school choice is the answer to this conversation, because we know the national report card is in the tank, failing grades across the board. And now you're going to say, oh, let's just lower the barrier to entry for the people educating our kids, our most prized possessions. Everything we've been talking about today harkens back to the kids are not all right. They're getting their education in news from TikTok. So this just doesn't bode well for us. But yeah, shout out to my husband for moving in my direction.
Jeremy, you also, how are you educating your oldest right now?
That's right. So we have a 4-year-old, my oldest, and we have her in a Christian preschool, right, which we can trust.
Well, I hopefully you guys could hear that. What I can say, this is heartbreaking to me, because it's a trend that's going across the United States, and hopefully the people that we're getting in, that we've elected into office, hopefully they're planning to overturn that. But I have to question how we're going to get rid of the Federal Department of Education, but these are states that's making these requirements. How are we going to govern or hold the state accountable for our children? So less involvement with the federal government. I think it will be more involvement with the people. So we need to get involved in these local elections, because these are our local people that's changing these requirements. These are the state representatives, the representatives that are in your district. We really have to get involved in our local election. Now, I'm not going to pay the whole thing because they're talking about, based off their experience, this guy saying, hey, we're going back and forth whether we should go to public schools or we should do homeschooling or we should go private schooling. School choice, it should be an option, which I do believe in school choice, because if you're in one of those areas and the zip code is bad for the schools, I think you should have the option to take your child to a successful school so they won't fail your child. Okay. But one of the ladies mentioned, hey, sometimes it don't even matter what zip code because they're just lowering the standards everywhere. So now in Oregon, you have a standard lowered for the teachers. So you're meaning to tell me they're not going to require for a teacher to pass this basic skill test in order for you to teach a kid. So just any Joe Schmo could walk off on the street and say, hey, I'll teach a kid. What are the other requirements? I know this is a part story. What are the other requirements? So how are you going to find individuals that's qualified to teach a kid? Another thing, if we're saying these people, we need a lot of people, we're a shortage of staff and it's hard for people to pass the test. Then if they can't pass the test, why in the hell would you want them teaching your kids to pass the test? Because higher education, you have to pass tests. They have standardized tests. If you want to go to a school, they have the LSAT, they have the ACT, they have all these SATs, MCAT, all these schools that require for you to do, if you want to go to a specialty school or just a regular school, they require for you to take the ACT or the SAT. So why would I want my kid to learn from a person that don't know how to pass the test? And then not only you got to pass the test to, go to these colleges and stuff, you also got to pass the standardized test. So you're having a teacher to teach a kid what? Because they can't teach them to pass the standardized test because they can't take a test. What are you teaching? And the biggest difference between, and this is what I noticed because I went to school in a predominantly white school in Iowa, and I went to school in a predominantly black school in Chicago. And the difference that I noticed, this is just back in the day where education was really important and they stretched education in the black schools and in the white schools. The biggest difference that I noticed is they teach you differently. They actually prepare you how to pass exams. They do it now. They give practice exams at my kids' schools. And we're in a predominantly white area. It's starting to get more black folks out here, but it's predominantly white. But in the schools that's predominantly black, they don't prepare them to pass the exams. And you guys put in the chat, I don't know if you've seen the difference. If you went to put it in chat, if you went to a predominantly black school, did they actually prepare you to pass the exams? So that's the whole nuances. And this is where I'm getting at when they say, oh, these exams are not fair. They're not right. They're not based off of, for our people to pass them. They're, I guess, quote unquote, racist. No, it's not because you're less educated. They don't prepare you to pass the exams. And that's why a lot of black students, when they go to college, they don't even prepare you. They don't even prepare you how to study or teach you how to study. And I noticed the biggest difference in a black school versus a white school. In a white school, they prepare you how to study. They teach you how to study. And that's why these kids are successful when they go to college. So let me just put this on you. Okay, so this we're going to see this across the board, education being dumbed down or with the state, and that's why it's so imperative for us to get involved with our local election, because I told you guys this before, probably about a year ago, that Michigan, and I'm in Michigan. Michigan used to have read by 3 grade. It was read by grade 3. Law was a statewide initiative that required schools to assess students' reading skills regularly from kindergarten through 3rd grade. Identify students who are struggling with reading and writing. Provide additional help for students who are behind. Retain 3rd graders who are more than 1 grade level behind in reading. Okay. The law was passed in 2016 and was based on research to show early literacy skills are a key indicator of future academic success. And it is. I can't stress to people how important is it for your child to be able to read. It's the gateway to all the other subjects, to read and comprehend, not only just to read and recognize words, but they got to comprehend. And it says, however, in 2023, the law was repealed that students will no longer be held back if they receive a low score on reading tests. Now, these are not reading tests like the NWEA tests. No, these are reading tests where, now this is based off what I know from my kids just in elementary. I still have one child in elementary. They test them every quarter to see where their reading level at. So when you guys do your own research, like if I wanted to get a certification for teaching, and I want to do like elementary or junior high, there's 3 requirements. And one of the requirements is to be able to assess children on their reading skills. And they got a whole class. So how they teach you how to assess children on their reading skills. That's one of the requirements to get your certification. So you're telling me we're not going to make a requirements to do the basic certification anymore. We're nixing that out. I'm not saying Michigan, but I'm saying Oregon. So you're telling me we're not going to make that a requirement no more. And so where do you think our kids going to go? We already set, you're saying the bar was too high, so we're going to put it on the ground. What do you think that's going to happen to these kids? It's going to be a very sad, sad day. In December of 2022, the study found that 0.6% of 3rd graders ended up repeating the 3rd grade, even though nearly 6% were eligible to be held back. So they wasn't even imposing the 3rd grade law in Michigan. So, and then they said they repeal went into effect in 2024. So I'm just warning you, if you are in Michigan, I'm just warning you, you have to be very vigilant on your child. Make them read to them. My kids are 11 and 9. Reread. They have to read on their own, but there's a book that we reading together. And what I do, so I could make sure they're comprehending the stuff, I ask them questions. I don't go on to the next chapter because we're in chapter books, of course. I don't just go on to the next chapter. I tell them, okay, read that chapter over. And they get mad with me. Well, we just read that chapter. No, you read it again because I'm asking you questions and you're not You're not saying, oh, this happened, this happened, this happened. That means you didn't comprehend or you just weren't even paying attention. So yeah, read this chapter by yourself. And we've been on this book, well, since the start of the semester. So it's like, okay, we'll probably be on this book for the whole year until I feel comfortable. Okay, I think you got the gist of how to comprehend the information that we're talking about. But you can't just leave it up to the schools. Okay. And another story about this reading crap. Okay. I think it's sad. I think, and then we're gonna wonder why all these kids on drugs? Why y'all don't get no job? Why can't you do this? Well, we didn't teach them nothing. We absolutely did not teach them a damn thing. And you wonder why kids are on TikTok trying to scam somebody, or they got a mag in your face because they trying to eat too. They want to live too. But we didn't teach them the necessary skills to make money. So they got to do what they got to do. Anyway, so Oregon is another state. I think California is another state that they dropped their high school graduation essential skills requirement. Okay. Oregon dropped their high school skills essential requirement. So they're basically, let me see if I can find the story right quick. Make sure I'm running on good on time, Oregon. Okay, so it's saying in this article, Oregon students won't have to show added proficiencies in basic skills through 2028 to graduate. The Oregon Board of Education voted Thursday to continue to suspend the requirement, saying it's been misapplied and is ineffective. It says high schoolers will not need to fulfill essential skills requirement in order to graduate for at least 5 years. And they're saying this was a unanimous vote to pause a decade-old requirement that students show additional proficiencies in reading, writing, and other skills on top of taking regular courses in those subjects. These essential skills requirement will be suspended. And this saying it sparks criticism from some of the Republican lawmakers. If I had to distill this into one simple statement, it's quite simply that it did not work. Dan Farley, Assistant Superintendent of Research Assessment and Data at the agency, toward the school board. It says a report from Oregon Department of Education to the Senate's Committee on Education in September 2022 recommended ending the requirement because schools were mostly using student state standardized test scores called the SBAC test to measure whether they were proficient in essential skills. This was counter to what the requirement was intended to do. Having this kind of assessment was not really to show whether or not the students could read or write, but rather could they apply what they were learning to the real world. And their scores on the SBAC are really not indicative of that. Why wouldn't it be? Hey, you give me a story. How would this apply to the real world? They are going to the real world. And this is probably why you have some kids that go into the workforce and they don't know what's their heads from tails. Strong reaction from the state rep, Tracy Kramer, Republican of Woodburn, and a member of Oregon House Education Committee, reacted angrily over the decision and the lack of public comment period prior to the vote. I think the bigger issue here is that the board has continued to remove standards and has not come up with a game plan. I think that's why parents and Oregonians are kind of frustrated. Just because graduation rates are improving, it doesn't mean proficiency. That's absolutely correct. Just because everybody is graduating, that don't mean everybody is doing well. And so, they removed this requirement. And of course, so you got some people that's upset about it and some people are not. Carrington, it says some subjects is a requirement in order to graduate. Yeah. Corporal punishment is that when teachers beat the kid. Yes. I never learned you anything. Mannequin. That was a long time ago. I'm telling my age, but I just remember one time the teacher spanked my hand. They hit my hand, not my butt, but my hand. But so that's telling my age because they've been nixed that in the butt a long time ago. And you get it more in Catholic schools because or Christian schools because we went to a Christian school when we were younger. We could say, I believe the education is on the parent. I believe, but if you paying taxes and your kids are going to public schools or whatever school they're going to, some of the responsibility and your kids is there 8 hours out of the day. Some of the responsibilities have to go on to the schools. If your schools are not performing and that teacher's not performing, your kids are not going to perform. If your teacher don't act like they care, your kids are not going to care. So, and then it leaves it up to all the working parents. If you're out there working, you got to care. And you got to hold your kids responsible and let them know, hey, I don't give a damn what the teacher say. You going to do this, this, and this. When my kids know if they don't have no homework, I make up homework. Every day you going to be doing something educational. Every day you're going to be doing something educational because I can't just let you go throughout life. And when it comes time to achieve something, you looking at me like, Ma, you ain't never told me that I'm supposed to be reading. Like I can't let that happen to you. I just can't do it. So I'm just gonna be on top of your head. And then another thing, I just don't want to be taking care of you for the rest of my life, unless something's like really wrong with you. But no, that's not why I have the biggest accomplishment. For a parent, I think, and I haven't reached that to this point yet, is so your kids could be successful and they do far greater than you. So, I mean, if you don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. I'm sorry. We could say, oh, the state and the school, they don't do this and all that. No, you got to do it. Because it's going to be, the kid is going to be a kid forever. They're going to be dependent on you forever if you don't force them to do it now. And that's like reading and writing or, making sure they turn in their homework and doing good. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Y'all still talking about corporate punishment. America had a paddle. Yeah, we had paddles in some of our schools. Like I said, if you went to a Catholic school or Christian school, you probably got beat up. You got beat by the teacher. Anyway. mom YouTube account. Some kids told their dads at home, we saw teachers get beat up in their school after that. Yeah, now they don't have the corporal punishment, but you do have some kids. They are they're just bad because we're raising kids to be brats, and we have a lot of kids. They don't know how to deal with conflict because their parents don't know how to deal with conflict. They don't know how to take a bad grade. Or, hey, take accountability for their actions because their parents don't. So, and we do have a lot of parents like that. So hence we get a lot of kids like that. Anyway, so that was it for our live stream, you guys. I really appreciate every single last one of you. Kennard the DJ, what is good? I see you came in late. Justin Thompson, what is good? Board Dan TV. This is the best place for daytime talk on YouTube. Thank you, Dan. I really appreciate you. So you guys, tomorrow at the same time, I'm gonna try 12:30. I gotta do the 12:30 thing because I got training at 2:00. So 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Be with me. And then today, I don't know. It all depends on how long my training lasts. I might go on live because your girl Tiffany Hinyard in Dalton Village is going to have a meeting today. And I believe Thornton Township is having a meeting today too. So we'll probably cover that story tomorrow if I don't get back online this evening, okay? So remember to like, subscribe, and share this channel. I'm sending all my good to you. I will talk to you tomorrow.